Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good day today. Like I say, I'm not responsible if anybody gets hurt. It's just my opinion. And today and sometimes I swear, and this is entertainment purposes. Today I'm gonna be talking about a person that I liked his music. From the 60s and the 70s, Jim Morse. He was an American singer, songwriter, and poet. He was born December 8th, 1943 in Florida and died July 3rd, 1971 in Paris, France. He was 27. It says he was 5'11". He went to college and he died of heart failure. So I'm going to look up his childhood. I always do that. So tell me about Jim Morse's child. Did he have a good childhood, or did it suck, or whatever? Can you please tell me about Jim Morse's childhood? Please. Come on, if you light my fire. I love that song. All right, please tell me about Jim Morse's childhood in the past. In the past, we'll do the past. His past. In the past, he was very moody and disappointed. I think it's because his father was very strict and he moved around a lot because he was in the his father was in the military. So he was kind of jealous that I guess his other siblings had more attention to his father because he was always the rebellion type of person. So he was very moody, and his father was moody too. So they clashed. He was disappointed in the relationship, his relationship with his family, and especially his father. And he thinks his parents had personal values that he was overwhelmed by choices because his father probably wanted him to go into military like he did, and also he fantasized to be someone special, like he wanted to go to California and go to college and stuff and do something other than what his father wanted him to. So his lack of purpose, like he wasn't sure what he wanted to do. His father wanted him to be stable and say, you're going to go and join the military. And he says, no, I want to. And there was confusion. He didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. Jim Morse, when he was growing up. He time management. He was trying to manage his time pretty good, going to college and getting out, moving out and going to school. So he tried to do good management and try to balance the decisions of going to college and, moving out and doing different things, going to classes and getting to meet new people. All right. And the present time he's avoiding conflict. He wanted to avoid conflict. He didn't want to deal with his father and his parents and respect the decision. He argued with them. He pretended that his family wasn't around anymore. In the videos I've seen where he says that he thought they were like dead. So he agreed to disagree and didn't agree with the way they wanted his life to be. He wanted to be a rock star and become famous and popular, and they didn't like the way his lifestyle was with the drugs, alcohol, and the women. They didn't agree with that. They agreed to disagree. And the personal beliefs. He wanted freedom. He didn't want to go by the traditional. This is a Temperance card in reversed. If it's upright there, he's into tradition. He's not a traditional person. He tried to be generous and fair to for his band members, but he had blind faith. He was doing drugs. He was getting himself in trouble. So he didn't follow the norm. He did the drugs. He did things that weren't popular back in the 60s. He was being, outrageous. He would, get drunk and go into drugs and get arrested. So he did unorthodox things. He didn't do things like normal person would do. He'd be like throwing himself into the crowd, getting drunk, getting arrested from the police. And his family was very disappointed in him. because of his drinking and drugging and everything. Everybody was getting disappointed. His family was members were getting disappointed because they heard in the newspapers and television he is very destructive, and they walked away from him, and he walked away from them because they didn't want to deal with his outrageous behavior, and they left him behind. They said enough is enough, and he says enough is enough. So it goes both ways. They were tired of his obnoxious before he died. They didn't have a relationship. He and his family did not have a relationship with him before he died. All right. When he was so how was his relationship with women in the past, in the present, meaning his past, the present of his time before he died? So how did he get along with women? We heard on the thing, but really, how did he get along with women? Jim Morse. How did he get along in the past? Because he dated a lot of different women. And I'll ask other questions about that too. So, in the past. All right. He had emotional baggage with all the women he dated because he dated so many different women at different times. And probably they were used to it, but some of them didn't like it. And they didn't in a relationship. He packed it. The women wanted a more stable relationship, but he didn't. He liked to play the field. Jim Morse, he didn't want to settle down. He was young. He wanted wild his oats. He wanted to date multiple women and not be serious. He avoided a serious relationship. He rushed to fill void with love, seeking either. He did have one relationship with, I forget her name, and then she died. I forget her name, but I'm not good with names because I have ADHD. Anyway, he rushed into love with her, with love scene at first. The first time they knew each other. He said he met her in a past life, and they were soulmates, like love at first sight. So he tried to avoid rushing into love with her, but it happened. Your hope and optimism, power leaving for you. So he was trying to be positive with the women he was with on the long-term ladies. He was hoping to be optimism with them and think positive about the women he was dating at the time. So he was a charismatic person. Love flows to you. You really come as. He was a charmer. He could be nice when he wanted to be, and caring and charismatic. He was kind, said nice things. Talked about poetry. Talked about different things in the songs. Beware, passionate individual. He was a very passionate partner. You have to be careful with those people. Be aware, possessive. He was very possessive in some ways. He probably, if she was looking at another guy, he would get jealous and get nasty. So he was he was jealous. Jim Morse. He wanted the women to do what he wanted them to do, and you have to be careful with that. He was possessive. He didn't. You have to do this. You have to do that. If you don't like it, tough luck. Yeah, it says illustration. It says, be aware of love, security, see reality clearly. He was trying to see this love as in reality, the way it was, and he tried to accept the relationship for what it was. He didn't want a long-term relationship as long as the other women do, so he just took it what it was, and he was trying to take reality, keeping it real, like honest. He was being honest with them, saying, look, I like you, I love you, but I'm not into getting married and settled down. He thought he had enough love to give to all these women. So he loved women, and he had excess baggage with a lot of them, and he tried to fill the void with love, and he could also be a very controlling person. So Jim Morse with the women he was with. All right. Is it true with the last girl he was with? I'm gonna try to remember her name. Hold on for a minute, please. I look on my phone. Who is? Hold on, please. I'm gonna look. Pamela Corset. Um, what was she? She was December 22nd, 1946, and she died 74. So that was one of his main squeeze women. Uh, so she died like 4 years. So how was their relationship, Jim Morris and Pamela? Did they have a good relationship, or was it toxic and they fought like cats and dogs? Like, ah. So please tell me, how was Jim Morris and his girlfriend? His relationship. How is his? All right. He tried to make a stable relationship with her, even though it was conservative. It was blocked to change because he was a megastar in the '60s and '70s, and he liked to live being popular with the women and stuff, and he didn't want to settle down, even though he did love her. So he was, he didn't want to change his personality. He didn't want to reform to what she wanted him to. So he just like, hey, I like to do the drugs and drinking like you do, and I'm not going to change for anywhere. So he tried to be in control of his own life in some ways, but it didn't turn out like that. He was also blocked or changed, like he didn't want to change the way he was living. He didn't want to. He didn't want to block change. He didn't want to stop doing the drinking and drugging thing. So he's overwhelmed with fear, like, oh, is she gonna ever leave me? Is she gonna be out of this relationship? Is she's gonna dump me? He had anxiety. Is she gonna leave me because we fought because of the relationship? Uh, he had repossessed him. He was confused about the relationship. Like, is this relationship gonna last, or is it toxic? Or yeah, he was confused. He had fear and anxiety about this relationship, because he was with other women too. He wasn't sure if this is gonna last or is it gonna, not. He thought he was very spiritual and wisdom. He thought he was smart, writing the songs, getting along with his bandmates. He thought he forgave he would have fights and then would forgive them. So he was quick to forgive and forget when he had fights. He was compassionate to the women he was with, and with her, he was very compassionate with her. He was distracted and careless with her. He would say things, and he was he wasn't full-hearted. He would say nasty things and be a fool, being nasty to her, saying dishonest things about her, and restless. Like, he got restless with her, being just tied down with one woman. Mainly, it was mainly her, but he also saw other women, but he was tired of being just with one woman. He felt guilty too and careless. He had scattered energy, and he felt frazzled. Maybe he was burnt out from doing the drugs and drinking with her, and he was tired of doing that. And he was restless of doing the same kind of music and hanging out with her. He wanted to do other things. He felt this relationship, she must have betrayed him. I think there was a lot of cheating going on and betraying. Yeah, there was a lot of betraying, cheating, people sleeping around, getting away. Yeah, they're getting away with the cheating, the lying, doing drugs and alcohol. So there was a lot of cheating. Was sleeping around. He was cheating with other women, and she wanted a more stable, and she felt betrayed by him because he wasn't staying with him, and they were all cheating on each other, and they were dishonest. He was not an honest, with other women. He was cheating with Pamela, with other women, and dishonest with her, and and was deceitful toward her. Said one thing, but then did something else, like a hypocrite. He was deceptive. He said one thing, like he said, "Oh, I'm going out," and then he would meet another woman and come back and say, "Oh, I was just hanging out with my friends," when he was hanging out with other women. So he was not an honest person when it came to her. I'm going to ask one more time. Was he violent toward her, Pam? It says he was dishonest and he slept around and he didn't want to, be tied down to one woman. He liked the women. So was he violent to Pam? Was he violent to Pam, Jim Morse? Three cards. And then I'll do 3 cards for her. Was she violent to Jim Morse? Was this a toxic relationship? Please tell me. The top will be Jim. Pam will be the bottom. He felt like she was betraying him. Like there were loss. He felt like she was an enemy of his. I think the drugs have really did a toll on his health, and he had wounds, and he thought she was gonna put finances against him. Like he thought, I guess the drugs might have made him think, "Oh, you're gonna take money from me because I'm famous and everything. You might want to take my money." And from the albums and my touring stuff. He had some weird thoughts about that, and he was having a breakdown in the relationship. He thought, "Oh God, this person is really breaking me down. I don't like being in this relationship." He felt really crappy in this relationship with her, and it was going to end eventually because he couldn't stand being with her. So he did not like being in a relation. He was planning on to leave her. He was going to leave her. The partnership, he was going to go. He didn't want to be with her anymore. He said, "This is it. I'm planning to move out. You can stay if you want, but I'm headed out." And he wanted to do different things than be with her. He thought he was the leader of the group and leader of the relationship, but he wanted to be successful in other things than this relationship and the music. He wanted to do other things, and he wanted to be a good. He was a born leader, like I said. In the relationship, but he was tired of being with her, and he wanted to do other things, than be with her. Okay. She was a compassionate person. She cared about him, and she wanted to be. She's a feminine thing. She loved him, and she tried to be kind to him, even though he was not always the nicest person. She was very sensitive and loving, and she was very female oriented. She wore dresses. She liked to wear sexual lingerie. She was a very feminine woman, so she tried to be fair and connect with him, making amends. She wanted to avoid the conflict of fighting with him. And she wanted to move forward, and she didn't really want to fight with him. She wanted to avoid the conflict of having a relationship with him. She wanted to make amends with him. She was tired of all the fighting and the conflict, because he was cheating with other women, and she was tired of this. She wanted to the conflict. Yeah, she wanted to move away from the conflict. She wanted a happy relationship like it was in the beginning. This is the lovers. She wanted a partnership, trust, harmony, and romance. She wanted a better relationship with him. She wanted to be what it was like in the beginning, in the relationship with Jim Morse. And she was trying to be positive in the relationship. And she tried to honor the relationship the best she could with not as much cheating as he did. So he wanted to get out. He wanted to get out of the relationship, and he was not happy in the relationship. And yes, there was fighting on both sides. So they did fight, but he was more the one who wanted to leave the relationship. He was tired of the fighting as much as she was, but he was. So I want to ask him, did the drugs really play a part of his death? Jim Morse, the druggies and stuff, or did he want to get fixed You know, did he want to go to rehab, or was he happy the way he was going, and then he died of a drug overdose? Was Jim Morris died from the drug overdose, or was he trying to get help? Please tell me. Oh, I'll use these better cards. These are better cards for me for this. Yeah, did Jim Morris want to get help, or did he just, before he died, he just died from the drug overdose and it was too late? Please tell me, Jim Morris. Did you die of drug overdose like they say, or were you getting help and it was too late? He was very moody toward the end of his life. He was disappointed and jealous of his relationship with her. He was jealous of everybody's relationship. He was at odds with Pamela, the band, everybody. He was jealous. If she looked at another guy, or if the band wanted to play different songs, he was jealous. He didn't like it. He was moody. He would overreact. He would throw fits. He would scream. He would throw furniture. He was very overactive. He was like narcissistic. Like if things don't go my way, he's gonna throw a fit. So before he died, and he tried to avoid conflict with the people he was around. He didn't want to, even though he was very moody, and he respected everybody's difference. Like, you have a right to your opinion, but it's my opinion that matters. And agreed to disagree. He agreed to disagree. I think he thought it was fine being on drugs, but his band members and wanted him to get clean, and he said, I don't agree with that. If I want to do drugs or get high or be with other women, let me do what I want. So yeah, they agreed to disagree. He had personal beliefs like, hey, the drugs aren't going to kill me. He was in denial. He thought the drugs weren't going to get to him and kill him. He also thought, he wanted the freedom to express himself, drinking and drugging and sleeping around. He thought he was expressing himself, going through those things. He was foolish. He was a foolish person, taking his life in his own hands by doing the drug scene, alcohol, and being with women. You could get diseases from the 70s, the different herpes and whatever they had, diseases in the 70s, and maybe unwanted pregnancies. So he was foolish, They didn't have AIDS back in the 70s, but they had other diseases like herpes or whatever. So the people thought he was being foolish for, sleeping around, with pregnancies and all this. While they were rolling the eyes thinking, Jim, you're going to get yourself, in trouble. So yeah, he was against the grain. And he was unorthodox, he wanted to do things his way. He didn't care what things think. So yeah, it didn't say. It said he was very moody. He was drinking. It didn't say if he died from the drugs. It said no, but he was very moody. And I'll ask one more time. Did the drugs, I'll ask one more time, and if it doesn't tell me, it doesn't tell me. But it does say he was moody and he didn't want to listen to people. I'll ask one more time, and if it doesn't tell me, it doesn't tell me. Did the drugs kill him? It said no, but it also said he was very moody and didn't want to listen to other people, and he didn't care what people thought of him. And he was, individual. So I'm going to do 3 cards. Did he die from drugs, or entertainment? Yes, he died. He thought he was a creative person, even though his music was going downhill because of the drugs and alcohol and the late partying. It was doing a toll on him. And he thought he was creative. He thought he was beautiful. He thought he was a popular person. Still, even in the 70s, he thought he could make more music. Also, he had his he's trying to forgive Pamela and his bandmates, even though they were both having trouble with him. And he tried to trust his band members that he was with, and the people who he was making music with. There was conflicts, though. There were conflicts in the band because he was doing all these drugs and alcohol and women. Like I said, he was having problems with with his band names and Pamela. There were conflicts, there were fighting. So before he died, there was a lot of fights with his band. I think it was the beginning of the end of the Doors because they were fighting. They didn't. They probably wanted him to get clean. He didn't want to, and that's when. I'm going to ask one thing of Pamela. When she died, did she have drugs in her system? Was she a druggie like as bad as Jim Norris? I'll ask one. Was Pamela into drugs before she died too? Because it didn't. If it doesn't tell me, then it doesn't tell me. Did Pamela go die of a drug overdose too? It said she felt isolated and alone because Jim died. Sorry, allergies. So she felt isolated and alone. And she was distant. She was like, she probably felt really upset that he died and was alone. And the band members did their own thing. And she was alone. She didn't have anybody to talk to. She was doing it all with carrying the. She felt the burden of the relationship that was over, and she felt really upset that he died, and no one was looking out for her, and she felt burnt out. She probably felt like, oh, none of the people in the Doors or listen, the band members aren't really there for me anymore. She felt burnt out. She felt, depressed, upset that he died, and she was very overstressed. So she probably did. She had some energy, but also she was a passionate person. She wanted to do other things, but she was fearless. She was fearless in the relationship with Jim Morris. But it says that she felt isolated and lost her way. So I think she probably did die from drugs because she was lonely, and she probably did. Let me ask one more. And if it doesn't tell me, did she die? She felt isolated. I'll do 2 cards. Did she die? It says she thought she had some security in the relationship. Maybe he left her some money after he died, and there might be success, but there was endings. There was an ending of her life, not necessarily death, but in this case, beginning. She wanted to do a new beginning, but she ended up dying. So yeah, she died of drugs, death. Even though death usually doesn't, but I was asking, did she die from the drugs? It says death, endings, beginning. So the beginning, once she died, she came, she died and she was reborn. So she was transformation. After she died, she was reborn. So yeah, she died from the drug because she was depressed about Jim dying and leaving her. So yeah, that's my reading on Jim Morris of the Doors and Pamela and his relationship. Until my next video, hope you like this. Entertainment purposes. Till next time, bye.